Should I tell her she has something in her teeth? No, the other side. There it was. It was, oh, no, it's still there.
Fingernail.
Is that what you want to tie?
Hey friends, welcome to another video. Today we're talking about how to work with your spouse. We asked a lot of questions on Instagram about what are people's biggest questions about working with your significant other in business, and the response was actually kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
There's so many people who have questions about this, and we know why you have questions about this because it's really hard. And we are not experts by any means.
If you don't know me, I'm Katelyn's spouse.
I'm sorry.
I'm not just a random guy to fill in to answer some questions.
This is Michael. This is my husband. You want to tell him our story?
We have a little bit of a past. We grew up together our whole lives, started dating in high school, went to college together, got married, and then moved to Richmond, Virginia, and have been doing this wedding photography thing for
over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
We were told by our friends Zach and Jody Gray, when we first started working together, they made this offhanded comment of like, you'll figure it out by year 4. And we were like,
no, we're going to do it faster than that.
We are smart people. We know how to fix we will be fine. Well, it probably took us 5 or 6 years to really...
Oh, we still haven't figured it out.
Really get the hang of certain problems that we were struggling with. So a lot of these questions actually speak to some of our biggest problem areas. And we're not going to get through all the questions today just because there were so many, but we wanted to get a head start. So I wanted to introduce you to Michael and make sure that you knew a little bit of our background, but also you should know that we are very different people. we are not wired the same way at all. And that will come up in some of these questions.
For you Enneagram people, I'm a 7, Katelyn's a 1.
We don't really know if I'm a 1 because I haven't officially taken a real
I've
test.
self-diagnosed her as a 1.
Hit
like if you want Michael to run the YouTube channel.
What are you doing with your hands?
I'm not doing anything with my hands. What are you doing?
So before we get started, make sure if you'd like to have questions answered or you have questions for us, be sure that you follow us on Instagram because I get a lot of feedback and I reach out to a lot of people in our online family and ask for feedback in that arena. So you can follow us at Katelyn James on Instagram. So the first question...
I'm currently on a mission to get as many followers as Katelyn, only about 92,000 behind, but... If you want to follow at Michael Alsop as well, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Is it really that funny? It's offensive. Question number 1.
Question number 1. How do we set healthy boundaries with work conversations? This was asked more than anything else. This was like it was asked a lot. Okay.
I get it. It's important.
Do you want to answer first?
So you mean like going on date night and going out to dinner and not just talking about work?
Yes, or like in our everyday life, we're sitting at dinner even with our kid, or just around each other. How do we not?
I tell Katelyn, stop talking about that.
That's
a valid answer.
Okay. Well, I do think that says something about the way we're wired is very different.
I can shut it off.
He can turn off work, and he is passionate about our work, but that is not his deepest passion.
Right.
Like you don't lay in bed thinking about course
the next
titles.
idea. Yeah.
He doesn't think like that. So for me, I do think about work constantly. I am very passionate about what we're doing, and the way that I'm wired, I just always trying to do the next thing. And so he monitors how healthy our conversation is in a lot of ways. But I also had the thought that recently, because of the way that we have structured how we run our team, I think it has set us free from having conversations in our everyday life because we have a good structure for getting the work conversations accomplished. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, so one of my requests just was I work better in a team environment. And so the idea of having team meetings to kind of go through, okay, it's Monday. What do we want to accomplish by Friday? Michael, here are your tasks. Katelyn, here's what we need from you this week. And yeah, that a lot of people know that we have hired a lot of family members. And so that makes it even more interesting because like at Thanksgiving or Christmas, like we're all just sitting around talking about business ideas or things like that. So it makes it a little trickier. But yeah, the idea of the team meeting really kind of like that's our time to dig in and to have almost an excuse to be like, hey, let's wait and let's talk about that on Monday in the team meeting has been really huge.
Yeah, so it's not him just cutting off conversation. There's a time that conversation will continue. I think in the past, before we did weekly team meetings, he would encourage us to not talk about work. But to me, I took that as, oh my gosh, you don't care about this at all. When really, he was probably trying to establish healthy boundaries. And now we have a way to kind of push it to like, okay, we know we are going to talk about it. It's just going to come a little bit later. It's going to come during that.
And then I think we have other lines of communication. Like I'll ask Katelyn if she'll have an idea. I'll be like, hey, shoot me that in an email so that I can remember it and remember to check back in on it has been helpful.
So in summary, that question about how to avoid conversations about work in your daily life, I would say the thing, if you really go to the root of what fixed that for us, it was realizing, one, we work differently. What did we need to solve a lot of the conflict in our work relationship? And it was the fact that we needed a time, even though I didn't feel like I needed it. It was really helpful for Michael and really for all of us to come together and have a team meeting, a set time every week.
To get everybody on the same page.
To talk about everything.
Yeah.
And to make sure that we went through expectations and what needs to be done and what's coming up. And when you have that set time, it just saves you from having
popping up other places.
Yeah, unnecessary conversation.
Question number 2.
Question number 2 is, what are our roles? Would you like to?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I consider myself the fun one.
Okay.
Keep team morale at a high.
We're talking about.
Oh, business roles.
Yes.
Is
not your characteristics in our relationship that make you more fun.
Well, no, not more fun. No.
That's what you said.
Well, my roles aren't that fun. I deal with the finances and the numbers and keeping track of all that. I deal with the taxes. That's not fun. I make it fun. I try to. No, it's pretty depressing.
I would say you also are a project prepper. Like there's a lot of...
Oh yeah, Katelyn has a lot of dreams and ideas that Amy and I have to make come to life. And there's a lot that goes into that.
Like that one time when I said, I think we should host this in-person event, and 400 people decided to come, and y'all made that happen.
It happened.
You made it happen. So yes, he does a lot behind the scenes. You also are
life.
A great second.
Oh, yes.
Your life?
No, like life organizer.
Yes, he keeps our life straight.
Right.
Our personal property taxes are paid because of him. Our lawn gets mowed because of him.
Sure.
You maintain our life.
You've mowed the lawn like once, I think.
The only time I mowed the lawn was when I was trying to go into labor with baby Graham, because I heard if you ride on a lawnmower and you're bouncing all around, it'll make you have contractions and then you'll go into labor, and it worked.
It did.
So, 24 hours.
That was for free.
That was for free.
Yeah, I do photograph weddings.
That's how this all started
on
in the
occasion.
First place. Yeah. So he started shooting with me before you were full time with me. You had a full time job.
Right.
And he started shooting with me for weddings where I had not had a second shooter booked, so there was no pressure.
Or the couple didn't hire a second shooter.
And so
I was a free add-on.
A free add-on, so there was no pressure. The first wedding that he shot, where he was
this is embarrassing.
A part of the investment, was Natalie Frank's wedding, which if you're in the creative world, the creative space, and you've heard of Honeybook, The Rising Tide, Tuesdays Together, she created, along with her co-founder friends, Dave and Krista, but she is leading that movement.
So no pressure.
She's a big deal. We shot her wedding, and I'm like, Michael, you are now a paid staff person. And
multiple times during the day, Katelyn came over to check on me.
I'd run over to where the group.
She's like, let me see the back of your camera. And I'm like, I think it looks fine.
So I am the lead shooter. I'm also the dreamer and the face of the business. So
the name of the business.
The name of the business. So,
She reminds us often. Just kidding.
People are going to watch this and be like, oh.
Katelyn James Photography can't be it without Katelyn James.
That is true. Whenever I get mad.
That's true. That is a phrase you said.
When we have team meetings and they get intense, and I feel like my sister, who is our full-time, actually CEO of the business, which is a whole nother video, and Michael, they like gang up on me. I'm like, you can't do this without me. Anyway,
we can.
No, you can't.
No, we can't.
How are you around each other?
Wait, this is question 3.
Question 3.
You didn't warn me. I need a tap or something.
Okay. How are we around each other all day, every day?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I would say that we are in a new rhythm recently. daughter started preschool. My sister's son is in the same preschool class. So Mondays and Wednesdays, we take the kids.
I kick them out of the house.
And we go to the gym, then we work at Starbucks, and then we pick the kids up. And honestly, that has been really, really good. Not just for our dynamic, because we can be together all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And we've done that.
Normally we are.
Even when he worked at the church full time, he was a full-time youth pastor. When we first got married, you were around a lot.
Right.
But I will say it's been so healthy for my sister and I to work from a different location for 1 hour twice a week. So two, maybe 3 hours a week. We get out of the house, we work at Starbucks, pick the kids up, come back, and we only have half the work day on Monday and Wednesday at the office. And I just feel like that's really
nice to break it up. Yeah.
Yes. And the other thing that we've talked about a lot that's hard in marriage together when we work together full time all the time is like we don't have opportunities to miss each other.
Right.
You know, we don't have like, you know, with my sister's husband, full-time job, he'd come home and hadn't seen her all day and give her a kiss, hello. And I'm like, well, she missed him all day. Like, and I never get to experience that with you. Right. Because we're always together. So in some ways, it is so nice to get to be together. It's so nice to have tag team parenting with the kids that are so young. But there are aspects of what I call normal marriage life setups that we just don't have. And so getting out of the house has been that's one of, I guess the answer to that question would be choosing time to separate.
Yeah. And I would be that way before, like even realizing I just like in college when I would have like a big project to do, I would go to Barnes & Noble and kind of knock that out. So if I have big things that I really need to focus on, and honestly, the kids at the house can be a distraction. And so it's nice to be able to get out of the house and really like focus. Iron out and do some work while I can. So, yeah.
Which that's another question that people did ask for another day. How does it work that I am technically the face and, the boss of the business working with my husband? Like, how does that look? And that's very hard. And I won't sugarcoat it.
Sugarcoat it.
It's complicated, but we have found a good solution. And
we have a life coach and we talk about it often.
Yes.
It comes up often.
Yes.
And that's probably advice too. Like, don't avoid the conversations, it's an opportunity to grow and to figure out. And I know she has her best intention in mind, and she knows I have her best intention in mind. And
do we know that? No, I'm saying we're going
to talk about that on the next call.
No, we struggle to believe that in the moment of me asking you to do something.
Oh, sure.
Or you coming to me for something and I have a little bit of a tone, or I'm frustrated or stressed. We don't always believe we have the best intentions. That's a struggle.
Right. So maybe
being honest.
Maybe we shouldn't work around each other all day.
Okay. Question number 4. What challenges have you faced working together and how have you solved them?
3.
The hardest thing has been respecting the fact that we are not wired and we do not work the same way, and choosing to realize that there are strengths in the way that we both are. I spent many years trying so hard to make him realize that if he would just work and process and achieve things the way I wanted them to be achieved, or the way I worked, it would be so much better for us. And I realized...
And I would do the same thing. I would say like, hey, let's slow down. Like, we don't have to work, till 8 o'clock at night. Like, we can shut our laptops. And that was offensive to you. You're like, no, I have to do this. Like, it's all on me.
Yeah, it just brought up a lot of other problems. So I became the victim. It's all on me. The weight of the business is all on me. He started feeling like
I'm judging her, that all she cares about is the business.
He's secondary, and it became a mess. And we honestly could talk.
That's a pretty big challenge.
It's a pretty big challenge, yeah. And I would say honestly that the biggest solution to that has been recognizing that, yes, you don't work like me. You don't even process to do tasks the same way as me. And the biggest thing for me has been realizing that's okay, that you are not broken or messed up, or there's nothing wrong with the way you work. But it's easy to feel like that when I'm like, what, that didn't get done? And I just support this idea constantly that I think that you are a certain way and that it's wrong.
Right.
And instead of realizing that the way that he is, while there may be challenges, just like with me, there are challenges. I'm a workaholic. That's a challenge. But there's also good sides of being a workaholic that have brought us to where we are today.
Sure.
You being more chill and relaxed is why we're able to actually work together, because you rein me in.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. See,
I think we should do a bonus question.
Okay.
Bonus question. Pew, pew, pew. Lightning bolts, Ty. Lightning bolts. What is your funniest memory from a wedding?
Me?
I mean, I'll answer. You mentioned Kat's name, and that made me think about, we were doing their wedding in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and it was a million degrees outside.
Beautiful, but hot.
Beautiful, but hot. And a bridesmaid comes up to you, I think, and she's like, Katelyn, I think your husband ripped his pants. And Katelyn comes over and she's like, come here.
I said to the bridesmaid, I'm like, pretty sure he would know if he ripped his pants. Like,
Katelyn
I was
comes over
frustrated.
And she's like, the bridesmaid thinks you ripped your pants. I reach back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I ripped my pants. And left the wedding. Yeah,
this big of a rip. I'm like, you didn't feel a breeze of any kind? Nothing.
It must have felt good with that heat. But went to Target, bought new pants.
Came back.
To this day, I take an extra pair of pants just in case.
Every single wedding. Gosh, what is my favorite memory?
Not favorite, funniest.
What is my funniest? Ty, do you know my funniest memory?
Oh gosh.
I love a good bag trip, when you're when you're backing up. Oh, what about when you knocked the cake over? Oh, you didn't knock it over.
I did. I was backing up to get a full room shot, and I backed right into. I fell backwards, knocked the cake table about like this, so the cake.
The leg popped out,
and I landed holding the cake. Camera went across the floor, and I was like, "Someone help me!"
We cleared the room to do the big room shot, so nobody saw it happen.
I'm screaming, "Someone come!"
Why didn't we have KJL access back then?
That was way before KJL access.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of KJL access,
what is KJL access?
What is this thing that we do? We actually have thousands of photographers who watch us work together.
Yeah.
Or on wedding days, during engagement sessions, we film behind the scenes so that people can learn from us in real life situations and technically come along with us as our virtual third shooter, which is
better
really
than
fun.
Netflix.
Better than Netflix.
Maybe just as good as Netflix.
It's a lot of fun, and you can actually watch a full episode for free just to see if you like it. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. This is something we're passionate about, but I honestly don't feel like we've talked about it as much as we could have, because we are just now in a season where we're realizing why things were dysfunctional, how we fix them, and how we're still working through stuff, but we're working through it in a healthy way. And I feel like that's why we're excited to talk more about it. And we'll definitely share more answers to your questions in the future.
Yeah. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them below, and we'll look at those and maybe answer them in a future episode. Thanks, guys.
Bye.